By the way, that manager at Dell who told me about that career-limiting move, he reached out to me recently. He got in touch, and he said, Darren, I want to talk to you about Twitter. I said, serious? He said, yeah, I'd like to fly in and talk to you about Twitter. I said, how did you even connect the dots and know that I jumped back on after Dell? He said, my son follows you, and he thinks you're cool. Truth be told, his son went into his dinner and said, Dad, how well do you know your friend Darren? I said, well, pretty good. We're on the road together 3 years, selling millions of dollars. I know him very well. He said, really, what kind of guitar does he play, Dad? Bill picked up the phone and called me that night. He was impressed that I knew that it was his son who followed me. I didn't know it was his son, but I recognized the name, and I knew things about him. I said, oh, I remember seeing his tweet about this topic and that topic, and he really opened his mind up and said, Darren, this is the new telephone. This is a tool that I need for business. This is the way that we can get a message across to the masses. By the way, I'm with HP now. Can you give me a call? So I've been talking to Bill quite a bit, and we laugh about the times where he had advised to sign off of Twitter, and now he's just looking at this as the salesman tool. You wouldn't think about going into sales without tools such as a smartphone for email or making telephone calls, and nowadays, could you even think about not having a fan page or a blog or a Twitter presence? I guess you could think that way if you don't want to succeed. But all of us want to succeed. All of us want to feel. All of us want to connect. And all of us like to relate. I'll be honest, one of my fears when I dove into social, I said, was sharing a little bit too much. I thought, wow, if I make a video and I'm silly, people aren't going to take me seriously anymore. But then I thought, I don't care. I really thought, I don't care. If my clients are going to refuse to do business with me because I'm not the best guitar player in the world or because I like to make silly videos about my food, then maybe I shouldn't be doing business with them because eventually they'll find out that I love food and I'm a horrible guitar player. By being honest, I thought this was fun. So I made my first video and I'm nervous. And I make this video and I really put it out there, just singing and playing, and I get to a prospect, a very large company that I was looking to sell, and I see a few people giggling as they look at their iPhones and look at me and said, yeah, he's the guy who made that song. I said, so did I screw up my opportunity here to do business with you? They said, no, you got the next 90 minutes to do that. They said, what you showed us is you're a dork like us. We like playing guitar too. We think it's kind of cool that you did this and you're not dry or boring. Honestly, I thought it was funny, and your playing is horrible, but that guitar was in tune. It was fun, and it connected people.
Hi.
Hi there. I'm Darren.
It's okay. I'm Brian. Hi. Wanted to ask you if you know of a company that's using a successful multilingual strategy internationally, tweeting not just to an English audience, but to German, Spanish, Italian, across the world, because that's a big brand challenge right now. Just want to ask you about that.
That is a great question. The one I know of, I am under NDA, and I will find out if it's okay to talk about that. And if so, I'll put it on socialmediathefuture.com. This is fascinating you brought that up, though, and I appreciate it. Something that's critical for us to understand is this is a global economy. So some of the things I've begun to see out there that make this even automated, I was using Google Chrome the other day, and I got a new follower who followed me on Twitter, and all his tweets were in a different language. Chrome said, would you like to translate this to English? I clicked yes, and we began our relationship that way. There are now many tools I'm seeing even implemented with WordPress, allowing you to have a drop-down that says, do you want this in a particular language? You can use tools within your blog to measure and see where they're coming from and actually assume the language they're in. And I'm definitely going to grab your card afterward because I'm kind of excited to talk about the client who found a pretty neat way to pull this off. So I appreciate that. Okay, weird social media experience. I'm trying to come up with something like bizarre or obscure. Like, really? You're my sister? Well, actually, you know what? Let me share about that. True story. Last year, my grandfather called me to come to Vegas and party with him for his 95th. God bless him. The man is amazing. He's 96 now, obviously. It's a year later. So I get out to Vegas, And Gramps is there, and I thought it was going to be a small get-together, just maybe 5 or 10 of us, but there were 100 Willigers. I didn't know any of these people. And I said, Gramps, who are these people in the room? These are your cousins, Darren. This is your third cousin. I said, Gramps, how do I not know these people? How have I gone my whole life not knowing these people? He said, well, your parents split up when you were 10, and I guess you just left the West Coast, moved to Chicago, and I guess you never got to meet them. And these were all really cool people. So I came back and I went to a website called Geni.com, Geni. So within about 40 days on Geni.com, I kid you not, I connected 416 blood relatives, including cousins that were within 2 miles of my home that I had never heard of and had never met. I call Gramps and I say, Gramps, what's up with this branch over here? He said, yeah, we had a falling out back years ago. But by doing this, I've actually connected with so many amazing people, and they were grateful. I found a couple people who were orphaned. I found people that didn't know their roots. I went as far as the 5th cousin and I stopped. It went a little bit too far. But you know what was neat about this is other family members stepped up to the plate and started using this too. And I had a woman named Shira Kaplan reach out and say, I think we're related. I think we share a woman in common. And I called my mom. I said, do you know Shira? My mother starts crying and says, I haven't heard from her since she was 8 and she moved to Israel. How did you find out about her? I said, she bumped into me on a family tree online. Shira joined the tree. Immediately, I had access to her family. And I had this whole beautiful connection I felt. It was just these goosebumps that stayed to today when I realized that her children were musicians and performers, and that I can actually dive right in, and I'm on their MySpace page. I'm watching their videos. I found a guy who played trumpet. That is probably my most fun social media story, is really learning my family through social, making awesome friendships. So I guess it comes down to what you tweet. Something I had a lot of fun doing. Somebody said to me once, what do people talk about on Twitter? What they ate? I said, well, that would be great. I love food. For a full year, I kid you not, and I think it's still up at williger.foodfeed.us, I blogged every meal for 1 year. January of 2009, I weighed 256 pounds and had about 82 Twitter followers. Now, I'm at 195 and I'm still improving by the day, but I'll be honest with you. The honesty of sharing my meals was a phenomenon amongst itself. I didn't mean for what to happen to happen. I did it out of fun. I did it because I thought it was silly. And let me share with you what did happen. Well, I found other people who love food. And I remember the first time Billy Beatty sent me a picture of his sushi and tagged me in it. And it is just like, wow, he's my brother. More importantly, though, for my health, you know how many people reached out and said, Darren, why so many Snickers bars? Are you okay? I see a lot of double quarter pounders there. It got to the point, and I don't know if I was embarrassed about what I was eating or if I just didn't want to blog every single chip, but I didn't do anything else to lose weight. So it's just a lot of fun. I think the one word I could put to all this is fun. I love what I do. Every single day I get out of bed and I'm happy. And I'm smiling. And I go to my computer, of course I got a BlackBerry by the bed like everybody. But I have friends smiling at me. Do you know how hard it is for me to leave Twitter at the end of the night when I see all these beautiful smiling faces interacting? And I absolutely love this. I have so much fun with it. And that's the whole key. And I think that's why success has been finding itself to me, because I'm following my dream. And that's what you guys are doing too, is following your dreams. As business owners, we're all dreamers. Dreamers with a destiny. And now we got a real way to make this thing happen. So let's take this Play-Doh and build it into the success blocks of our future, friends. It's here, it's now, and please reach out. I love talking about this stuff. Thank you. Thank you. You rocked it.
Enough, I think my first exchange with Darren on Twitter was about a Passover meal or something, a matzah or something he was having, and I told him I'd been to a Seder before, and it was just that connection. You guys, there's some funny stories. Would love to tell you more about them, and just meeting Darren and some other things. It's just fascinating to me how this works.